Hello and welcome to the Daily Meal for Sunday, the 22nd of March 2026. We start out with this. So the international call-ups all seem to have been announced. Seems to be done and dusted. So we have four. This is a graphic put up by Mill on Mill's X page earlier today. 4 lines have been called up for international duty during March. Best of luck. And you got Max Crocombe for New Zealand, Mihajlo Ivanovic for Serbian under-21s, Tommy Watson for England under-20s, and Elias Mansour for Afghan men's team, the men's team, even though he's an under-21 player for Millwall. So we've talked about the other 3 already. New Zealand games. They're in New Zealand, first time in many years that a European team has come over. They're playing Finland, they're playing Chile, and there's a little tournament going on. The Serbian under-21s, they're supposed to have 2 games, and it's just 1 game. They're actually playing the games in Turkey, in Antalya, which is like a big complex there where they have like football pitches and stuff. A lot of games are played there. So I don't know if they sorted out a second game yet. Maybe they'll just play Kyrgyzstan twice. That would seem to make sense, but obviously mix it up a bit, you would assume. Obviously, as mentioned many times, Ivanovic playing for Serbian under-21s because they want to have the best team that they can put, because they're hosting the tournament. The tournament is happening next summer in Serbia. It's jointly hosted by Serbia and Albania, as obviously they want to win it, which would be fun because I think the finals being played in Tirana, so that would be fun. But yeah, so obviously by the time the tournament gets played, he's going to be like 23 or something, but it counts because it's under 21 from when the tournament qualification starts. So they're trying to get away with it, so we'll see if they do. Tommy Watson, that's an under 21 international. They don't have a tournament in under 20s. There is an under 21. It basically acts as like an under 21 B team. They used to call it the elite squad. I don't know if they stopped calling it that, because the thing is, the reason why they used to call it England elite squad is because if you go anywhere and search England under 20s, basically the SEO would mean that it was the rugby union team that came up, because the England rugby union age restricted bracket is an under 20 age bracket. So if you search for England under 20s, all you would get would be the rugby team. Now they seem to have decided to maybe they're going to start calling them under 20s because that was just a bit weird. So seems what they're doing. In Afghanistan, we'll talk about that now because we haven't talked about that yet. So this is from Wikipedia. It's Asian Cup qualifying for the tournament next year. They've already been eliminated. The teams are separated into the groups of 4, and only the one team that won the group would go through. They would qualify for the tournament. Simple as that. You win the group, you win a place in the tournament. And that place has gone to Syria. So Afghanistan were playing against in a group with Syria, Myanmar, that's Burma to you old folks out there, and Pakistan. Bit eggy because Afghanistan and Pakistan are in some kind of war at the moment. So in fact Pakistan fired a missile at a Kabul hospital and killed about 400 people. So luckily enough, they've already played both games, so that's not going to be a problem getting those games on. So these are the games that have already taken place, and there's only one game set to happen, 26th of March, so in 4 days' time. It's Afghanistan versus Myanmar, but the game is actually taking place in Yangon, which is in Myanmar. But it's presumably because they've already decided, to play the game out there. Now the thing has been happening. So if you look at this game, Afghanistan-Pakistan was played in Kuwait, and Afghanistan-Syria was played in Saudi Arabia. So they're not playing their games in Afghanistan anyway. So I think they've just decided, you know what, let's just put the game on in Myanmar. However, we've got a date, the 31st of March, but the game against Syria versus Afghanistan doesn't seem to be happening. There's no time or place. And Syria themselves, the Syrian war, they've been playing all of their home games in Saudi Arabia, which is, at the moment, that's being attacked by Iran as well. So what are you going to do? Maybe they'll just not bother playing the game, because as you go back up to the table, I mean, Syria qualified, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter at all, you know. So we wait to see what they do, but at the moment, it's just the one game in Myanmar, which is Burma, for Ellis Mansour. Now, if we move on to this, now this is a live football on TV.com. Obviously, it's the international break now at the moment. We don't have a game until Good Friday against Middlesbrough. A big game, but showing you there's a lot of international games that you can watch on television. And obviously, Italy versus Northern Ireland, that's a big game. I believe that's a one-off game. That's not a first leg. That's just a one-off game. Obviously, George Savile isn't with us anymore, but good luck to him in that game. I believe he has been called up. But I want to show you. So obviously, Max Crocombe, New Zealand versus Finland, 6:15 in the morning. You can watch it on a thing called FIFA Plus, which is an app, but it's also a website. So yeah, I don't believe you have to sign in. I think you can just. The last time they put the games on, I didn't have to sign in to watch it. So if you are inclined, if you are an early bird who catches the worm, you can watch Max Crocombe, New Zealand versus Finland. But you can watch it live, or I believe they do keep the games up afterwards, the full games. So I'm not sure how long they keep them up for, but you almost certainly later on in the day you could watch that. Obviously, England's on ITV1. I don't think this under 20 game is going to be. It might be on YouTube, England FA, YouTube, the Tommy Watson one. The New Zealand Chile game is on Monday, the 30th of March, 7:15 in the morning. So there's that as well. Although you would imagine they would rotate the squad a bit, so we don't know which one Max will play in. I would probably say Finland, because that's the harder game, I would say. Or is it? I mean, Chile are quite good, actually. Depends who the squads that are there. See, Scotland's on BBC iPlayer. England versus Japan. And if we look to the future, to a future international break, 6th of June, England versus New Zealand. Yes, Max Crocombe's New Zealand will be playing a friendly just before the start of the World Cup, the week before the World Cup. It's set to take place, I believe, in South Florida, they said. So, Tampa, somewhere like that. I don't know. No, Tampa's North Florida. Orlando, somewhere like that. So, I don't know. But that's something to keep an eye on. And that is on ITV1. So, how about that? Right. Now, obviously, that's international games that you can watch on the television, but things you can do in the real world by walking the streets. This is from eventbrite.co.uk. Mentioned this before. Coming up next weekend. Now, originally, the Saturday one was sold out, so I don't know why it's gone back to almost full. Maybe there's been some refunds, or they've added a few places, but the tour around the Isle of Dogs. So it's a walking tour, so you do need to be a bit spryly. They're going from West India Quay, and I think they do go down to the Lord Nelson, which is down by Island Gardens. So it's a bit of a trek, probably a mile or two. So yeah, you do need to be a bit mobile. And they have places on Saturday and Sunday available. So they only do one, but obviously they've decided to add an extra one because I think the original one did sell out. So if you go to Eventbrite and click on this, search for Millwall, click on this, and it will come up, and they'll just walk you around places on the Isle of Dogs where Millwall used to play, the pubs that that they used to drink in and all that. So there you go. That's something you could do during this international break. Now, I thought this was going to take place on a Sunday, but it actually took place yesterday. And in fact, when I went on to Sky Sports to watch the Ipswich game, it was streaming. This game was streaming there, and I just clicked onto it for a bit to watch it, and then during half time of our game, because this game kicks off earlier. I don't know if it kicks off at 12 o'clock or what, but yeah. On London City Lionesses, we've discussed all that stuff, but they drew 1-1 with Chelsea. Just wanted to show you pictures of the crowd. I don't know if you see it. It is on YouTube, actually. If you go to WSL or just search London City versus Chelsea, it will come up. But obviously that's on the pitch. A bit weird seeing another team play at the ground. But you can see the pictures here, Block 45. They only used the Docker stand, and they used obviously the exec area, but they did only use the Docker stand to make it look like, oh, there's fans there. Because otherwise, all the fans would be spread out. So, bit unfortunate, because you can see the people with their hands on their eyes. They can't see because the sun's in their eyes. But they want it to look good for the TV. So, what are you going to do? Obviously, in the future, that's not going to be a problem. And we'll get into that in a minute. The sun will be disappearing from your eyes. There you go. So I would say it's probably about 40 to 45% full. I should say. Yeah. Obviously, that's in the centre circle before the game. I think that's after the game. So they're staying around. The reason they're staying around because there's stuff being thrown into the crowd for them to get. So there you go. But yeah, just wanted to show you that. Obviously, next Sunday is the actual Lionesses, Millwall Lionesses, playing at the Den, and also the Junior Lions Fun Day. The two events combined. The Fun Day starts, and then as it finishes, the match begins. So there is that. Right. Now we're going to talk about the 999-year lease thing. Obviously, the deal between Millwall and Lewisham that was announced on Friday. Massive news for the club, and it's going to facilitate many changes. So obviously, there's two what do you call it? Signatories to the deal. One is Millwall, and we discussed that on Friday, and one is Lewisham, and so this is what they've put out on lewisham.gov.uk. Long-term Mill lease now agreed, opening the door to stadium improvements and community benefits. Following extensive collaboration with the council, Millwall Football Club has now signed all lease agreements, enabling progress on improvements to the Den and unlocking plans for new homes, jobs, public space and community facilities. Since Mayor and Cabinet approved the heads of terms on the 8th of May 2024, the council has worked closely with the club and Millwall Community Trust to agree a revised structure for a new 999-year lease covering the Den and surrounding land. This agreement allows the club to expand year-round use of its facilities, progress proposals to improve the stadium, and play a leading role in a wider regeneration of the area. So that's interesting there. We can expand our year-round use of facilities. So is there a problem at the moment in that we can't use the facilities because of the original lease agreement? So we have to, every event that we host has to get approved by Lewisham Council? Or it's restricted, like, was it Arsenal or Fulham, they have restrictions. Because, it's in Fulham's in like a residential area to some extent. Obviously, it's bordered by the river, but on the other side, there's houses. And the Residents Association, they dictate, you're only allowed a certain amount of events a year. Was that in the original agreement and they've taken it out? So, we were told when the ground was being built, they're going to have events on, they're going to have this, they're going to have that, boxing, all these kind of things. And we did have a few, but then they kind of petered out. So, I don't know. Or, we did kind of get overtaken by other facilities in London. being built. Namely like the Millennium Stadium, not Millennium Stadium, Millennium Dome, the O2 and all that. Which, that opened in 1999. The councils ensured the lease structure enables future housing delivery, including much-needed affordable homes alongside new jobs, better connectivity and community facilities. Importantly, it also guarantees dedicated space for Millwall Community Trust, which delivers sport, outreach and employability programs for local young people. With the lease now formally in place, Millwall Football Club can progress detailed proposals and submit them to the local planning authority. So again, we still got to go through the planning situation. So how many years is that going to take? When do we start breaking ground? 2040? 2035? How long is this going to take? The club will engage with the local community as plans are developed. And we've got the statement from Jimmy Berrison that we mentioned the other day. The Mayor of Lewisham said, "We're delighted to have reached this agreement, and I want to thank Millwall Football Club and Millwall Community Trust for the constructive and collaborative way we have worked together to get here. This partnership has been central to enabling the potential for these once-in-a-generation improvements for our community, including much-needed affordable homes, new jobs, improved public spaces, and better community facilities that local people can benefit from year-round. Importantly, it safeguards space for Millwall Community Trust, securing a purpose-built facility that will enable it to continue delivering vital programs for young people and families in Lewisham and beyond for many years to come." And the Jimmy Berrison statement I read on Friday because it was published on Millwall Football Club. Okay. So, moving on to this. So this is from theguardian.com. 10 years of acrimony, finally at an end as Mill get a new lease of life. Transformative 999-year deal as a massive moment in the history of the club and the violent cultural push-pull of London. I have in my hand several hundred pieces of paper, dog-eared, scribbled with rewrites and stained with sweat and ancient Bermondsey vinegar, but a wad of paper that may just guarantee finally what passes for peace round here. There was a moment at the Den on Saturday afternoon that carried its own strictly localised sense of history. An hour before kick-off in Mill's Premier League playoff push game against Portsmouth, the key personnel gathered in a wedding-style lineup around the centre circle. In the middle, close to where the door of the vanished ministry church once stood, were the Lions managing director Mark Fairbrother and the Mayor of Lewisham, Brenda Dacres OBE. Fanning out either side were a mixed cast of board members, community trustees and fan activists. At the edge of these were the outlines of absent friends, John Berylson, Paul Jiggins, and beyond that the shadows of bit partners who never quite came centre stage, from Steve Norris, Tony Blair, Banana Man and unconfirmed Albanian amusement arcade cartels to the mysterious financial information gathered by someone known only as Swiss Tony. Commemorative photos were snapped, and as of Friday morning, Millwall and Lewisham Council have signed the club's transformative new 999-year lease on the land beneath its feet. It is a massive day in the history of Millwall FC, and more widely in the violent cultural push-pull of London. Again, he's used that phrase. What does that mean? What push-pull? The current parcel of clay was pillaged by Henry V, then re-industrialised as London's larder, bombed into dust by the Luftwaffe as Target Area G, and more recently recast as fertile soil for London's glass and steel tower boom. It will now remain the property of inner southeast London's only professional football club. The lease puts an end to a 10-year cycle of acrimony, and it also marks the start of something for this stubborn inner London peninsula. The Mill site and its surrounds is one of the remaining pockets of old Bermondsey, a patchwork of ad hoc housing, shipping container warrens, and pop-up shops with plastic pots of fruit outside. For decades, London money has been insisting this land is made over and reharvested. In this context, a new lease with development rights is a best-case outcome from a battle that began in earnest with news that Lewisham intended to purchase compulsory the club's narrow but vital car park space and reallocate it to a housing developer, a plan that would have threatened the club's existence in South London. The preferred developer, Renewal, was owned behind a veil of secrecy in the British Virgin Islands. This is not unusual in itself. The point of ignition was the revelation that one of Renewal's founding directors was the previous Labour Mayor of Lewisham, Dave Sullivan. Renewal and Sullivan were adamant he was no longer involved and would not benefit from potentially vast profits of the council-backed plans. But British Virgin Islands anonymity did nothing to diminish this negative impression. The sense of some oddly blurred act of dispossession persisted. So began a battle of resistance that spoke to many other threads: disenfranchisement, cultural vandalism, the pricing out of people from their own homes. This was soundtracked by endless leaks, political ambitions dashed and re-inflamed, and a battle of the Five Armies style coming together in the local community. Nobody knows if the wilder rumours about who stood to gain from the land had even the slightest grain of truth, but the story went global. Parliamentary figures had their say. The say no to the CPO hardcore, in reality free blokes, ran the 73-year-old Willow Winston as a candidate in the general election. The CPO was finally abandoned just before a televised FA Cup tie at the Den in January 2017, capturing for posterity a day of defiant South London glee. 9 years on, this has now become the rarest of things, a good news story. The reapproachment was overseen by the relentlessly energetic Fairbrother, who returned to the club in 2022 as managing director. How did it feel to open that door again? ? Oh, it was frosty. That's probably a good way to describe it. But you have to embrace the future. The councillors we had the worst of battles with have moved on. We know we can't operate without each other. It's a common goal, especially with Brenda as mayor. She's been brilliant driving it forward. Her affiliation with the club has come through the community trust, which just shows how important it is to the work we do. It is a part of the Millwall paradox. There is an enduring fascination with this club, target of both deserved and undeserved scorn. There have been undeniably been incidents of violence and racism down the years. Racism? What racism? It has been tempting for some parts of the media to locate all evil here. If only we could solve Millwall, maybe all these societal problems would simply melt away. The reality is Millwall and Lewisham is an exceptionally hard thing to govern, a space where the battle lines meet, one that reflects and embodies the tensions of society like no other. It will also defy your expectations, a club of the white working class, but also one of the more mixed crowds you're likely to find in football. It is also a place where good stuff actually gets done. Lewisham's Labour Council was key to the setting up of the club's groundbreaking community trust 40 years ago. Is that true? Or is this some kind of party political broadcast? So he's not saying they set it up, he's saying they were key to setting it up. In what way? I don't believe that. So the Labour Party of Lewisham set up Millwall's Community Trust 40 years ago. In, what was it? Was it 1986? Is that true? Anyone old enough to comment on that? Since then, the club with a reputation for nihilism has done as much as any other anywhere to engage with its mixed and shifting parish. The new lease will safeguard our community delivery, and that facility is fundamental to our development. Fairbrother says, they are brilliant, they just do it, and a lot of that time without any plaudits, just because it's the right thing to do from a community outreach perspective. What I say to everyone is, come down and meet people. You'll see that your expectations are completely off kilter. We are a cross-section of society in terms of our fan base. We've got people from all different walks of life, which is not what you always see in sport. From a personal perspective, I'm openly gay, and I've never once experienced anything adverse here. My husband comes down, we bring friends, and I certainly wouldn't ever feel intimidated. It's so open. Nobody cares about people's backgrounds. When I was asked to come back, it was a no-brainer. This place, I think, for anyone who ever comes here, holds a special place in their heart, and as a Friday in the borough too. There is still uncertainty about what happens next. As ever, the need to preserve must be balanced against growth. The instant bonus is that the club can set about building up to 1,000 new properties on underused land. The club can do. I don't think that's in the club's plans. I don't think we're building 1,000 properties on our car park. I don't think that's what's going to be happening. Providing, unless we've been given extra land that isn't part of our car park, maybe the warehouses on Stockholm Street, but I thought they were part of the renewal project. So maybe the land behind, you know, where the where the walkway is that goes to, maybe we've been given that land. I don't know. I thought it was just the car park and the Millwall Community Trust thing. And they said they're going to be building, was it some kind of temporary accommodation thing or something there? Plans for the ground are less clear. On the table are building over, filling in the corners, not always the best view. Also, the chug of trains going past is one of the great urban football backdrops. The key thing is we can never lose what makes this place special. We want everyone close to the pitch. We want opposition to be fearful of coming here. What we don't want is to be just another faceless stadium. You need to be at the Den. This place is unique, and that's what we should be proud of. Will the club now be sold? Millwall has been a passion project for the Berylson family, not to mention something of a money pit. The Lease transforms its value at a stroke. You can never say never, says a fair brother. The affiliation with the family, the love of the club is so much deeper than I've probably seen at any other club. You never know what the future holds, but it's also not a transactional relationship with the football club. This is a deep-seated, and obviously with James as chairman, he's got a vision on how he wants to do things. This may or may not involve promotion, the place in the top tier for the first time since 1990. The season could yet provide the perfect year-end content, a playoff date with Wrexham, Millwall's soft focus alternate. And he's put Wrexham in there because obviously, if you put Wrexham in an article, you're going to get the Wrexham fans from America. It's gonna help the algorithm. That would be fantastic, Mark Fairbrother says. The EFL would love it, obviously. I'm sure Disney Plus would as well. It's total Hollywood, isn't it? Where they come from. It's also a challenge because there are those of us doing it a different way who perhaps aren't afforded this TV show with all the sponsors and all the new interest. But if we can do it a hard way, then that's a win for the normal guys. It is an appropriate Millwall note to end on, a little bit of low-key bristle, although let's be honest, nothing very normal ever really happens around here. So obviously, I believe that was written by Barney Ronay in The Guardian. He was involved. He helped publicise the original situation. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of The Guardian and lefties in general. But should mention that. Right. So what's happening? What is happening? Well, show don't tell. Here you go, this is it. This is what's happening. Now, where's the ground? Can you see the ground? Can you see it through there? It's just about through there. I don't know if you can see it. But this is what's happening. So this is from themurkydepths.co.uk, a local blog about South London. Mostly Lewisham and Greenwich, I think. Bexley as well a bit. Been going years, this site. Lewisham Council signed new 999-year lease with Mill in advance of development. Right, so let's take a look at this picture. Right. So if you look in the bottom left, you can see that brown building that's there. They built that already. That big brown tower. To the left of that big brown tower, that road, there's a road there with cars on. That's Ilderton Road. So you follow that up and you can see where the truck site was, that there's going to be more towers there. To the right of that brown building is the railway line that goes up to South Bermondsey and up to Lewisham. So you can see that there. And then, you can see these massive towers. So where Ilderton Road meets Surrey Canal Road, you go along, and between there and the Den, where the warehouses are, these gigantic white towers will be built. Supposed to be a pub in there or something on one of the ground floors. Will they let us in on match day? I don't know. They'll be stupid if they don't, but there you go. And, if you go to the right of those white towers, you can see 2 white rectangles. So that's, I presume, is the roof of the Surrey Canal Road train station, which is set to go ahead. They haven't actually started working on it yet, I think, but set to go ahead. But there you go. And in between that, so you can see barely between these yellow towers, the den. That's the den behind all of this. And it's going to be quite the difference, like I said. Compared to moving from Cobbler Lane to the new den, obviously that was dramatic. You moved geographically, and obviously the place changed. For those who lived Senegal Fields, probably walked their dog there. Massive changes happening there. Obviously Cobbler Lane's now houses. Massive changes there. This is going to be as massive as that, or probably if not more. We're staying in the same place, but the place is changing beyond recognition of anyone who was there before. And just mentioned, like, if you've got the sun in your eyes in the East Stand, after they built these, because obviously, where does the sun come from? Sun comes from the south. We're in the northern hemisphere. The sun goes over the equator. You're going to distinct lack of sun on the den in the future. Although, obviously, winter, not much sun in the winter when the football season's played anyway. Lewisham Council have signed a new agreement with Millwall, ensuring the club's future at the new den and paving the way for a major housing development. Lewisham Council approved terms on the 8th of May 2024, with the council and club working together since, and have now agreed a revised structure for a new 999-year lease covering the den and surrounding land. The club will expand year-round use of its facilities, as well as pushing ahead with proposals to improve the stadium. It guarantees dedicated space for Millwall Community Trust, which delivers sport, outreach and employability programs for young people. So, there you go. There's another picture. So, I believe that this is the end of Stockholm Road. I believe. Health centre. You always got to have health centres there, haven't you? That's how you get permission to build things. Oh, and a busker. Look, there's a busker there playing a guitar. Sure. Yeah, that'll go down well on match days. You have your money nicked. The stadium is set to be surrounded by towers, bringing thousands of homes in the new Bermondsey development. It is an ambitious plan with 3,500 homes from developer renewal and a stadium which could see 34,000 seats. Wow. Phase 1 includes 600 homes in 3 towers over the railway from the den. Right, so Phase 1, I don't even know if they've started this. They got planning permission ages ago. I don't even know if they've started. So if you look where the waste plant is with the chimney, you go to the left of that. There's 3 towers there with like brown steel girders on the outside. They're kind of triangular. I don't know if you can see that. They get built first. So these should be being built first. So we see how that goes. Although the market value, well, it's here as well. On the right hand side, Phase 1. These get built first, but the market for houses or for flats is it's kind of tanking, to be honest. Thanks to this failing Labour government, who we have at least 3 more years of. So, and even then, in the next election, it doesn't look to be good. Although, again, we have local elections coming up. I don't know if the Lewisham elections are coming up, but I think we could see some Labour councils, losing their positions as running the council, and we may see people switch over wholesale to the Greens. Almost certainly in Southwark, there's a lot of nut jobs, lefties in Southwark, and they're just going to move over to the greens wholesale. So we may see Southwark Council either go green or just hopefully to no overall control. But if the Green Party take over, I mean, you watch out, because it's gonna be nut job central. A new station is set to be built on the London Overground at Surrey Canal Road, whilst South Bermondsey Station, served by Southern trains, should see improved access. What does that mean? So this wasn't mentioned before. Section 106 money to improve the local infrastructure. So not only are they going to build all these buildings, they're going to dig up all the roads. They're going to do all these things because they have to spend in the local area. So they'll just put in crosses. There's maybe bus stops. Supposed to be getting a new bus route. There's like 3,500 homes being built here in the picture that you can see. We've only got the P12 bus. They're talking about narrowing the road though, to build a cycle lane. So there almost certainly will be a cycle lane on Ilderton Road. They're already demanding it, the nut jobs, because they already got the cycle lane round the back of Coward's Way. They already got that, but surprise, surprise, people have been getting mugged for their bikes. Well, yeah, of course. So now they're demanding a cycle lane in the road. So they're gonna have 2 cycle lanes. Isn't that fantastic? So almost certainly the money from this will be used for that. Will we get any new buses? I don't know. Bus stops? Don't know. But we'll see what they do. And even they mentioned there's been some rumours that Surrey Canal Road Station is too small to run safely on a match day, so they won't have trains stopping there when there's a Millwall game on. The trains will just stop at Surrey Quays, which is funny because Surrey Quays aren't that big anyway. But whatever. And then they've got the quotes from the Mayor and James Burleson. So there you go. Right, now moving on to this. So it was mentioned in the fans forum that they were talking to 3 architects. So they're talking to 3 architects. What architects they're talking about, we don't know. The only official one that we've got is this one, afl-architects.com. So AFL, and they put out their plans. So obviously Mill needed to show stuff to people, say, hey look, this is what we want to do. So to help people visualise it so they could get their plans approved. So what you're looking at now is, this is the front of Millwall Stadium, the West Stand, the Kitchener Stand, and the gate that goes out to Surrey Canal Road. I believe this is called Stockholm Road. If you go down here, there's warehouses on the right hand side. At the moment, they're being used by Lime Bikes. They're using one there. There's some other thing like a basketball thing or some church or something. They were using it. So this is what they're going to do. The car park, where do the cars go then? Where do the cars go? I don't know. Underground car park? What are they going to do? I don't know. This thing here, it looks like it's a hotel. Because this is what the hotels in the City of London look like. If you go down, was it Minories? There's a load. They look like that. So I'm assuming this is a hotel here. But they're building this thing. They're going to build this thing inside. So what they're going to have, it looks like they're making concourses, extra concourses bigger. Inside. So presumably to, extra space for the fans. So at the moment, they've been doing all this stuff around the back. Putting all the bars in, they can do that stuff inside. So they'll do it beyond these arches. So these arches are kind of like to remind people of like the railway arches on what was the first ever passenger service in London, which was from London Bridge to Greenwich. They built hundreds and thousands of arches going along that route, down between from London Bridge to Greenwich, the first ever passenger service in London. So yeah, there you go. So this is their plan. The proposals under development include a strategy for incremental, phased expansion of the existing stadium. So obviously this is a lot of work. And it's not, because we live in London, there's stuff that exists already. It's not about what you want to build. It's about how are you going to build it. How are you going to demolish what's there, then build the replacement thing, whilst facilitating the need for the things that are happening in the area to continue happening. How are we going to do that? Yeah, obviously we have a summer break, but how's that going to work? So it seems we're not going to be playing our games anywhere else. We're not going to ask Crystal Palace if we can play at their ground. We're not going to ask Charlton if we can play at their ground. We're just going to stay where we are and do it bit by bit. Although, maybe we could use Wembley because we know how to get there. We've been there quite a few times, unlike other clubs. This will not only provide the facilities needed to meet Premier League requirements, such as additional media and player accommodation, but also in time provide enhanced facilities for fans to transform their matchday experience. So the main thing that they have to do, which they'll have to do very quickly if we do get promoted this season, is to improve the things that they need to improve to meet the Premier League requirements. So that's expanded media section, player accommodation, things like that, the TV gantry, press stuff. They have to do all that. So they have to do that anyway. But I assume that's going to be temporary and not the final plans that they want to do for this. Part of the proposal is the creation of a vibrant new public plaza at the heart of New Bermondsey. This will provide a valuable amenity for the surrounding community, new and old, as well as an engaging space for fans on match days. This is elevated over parking and service areas. So that's... Oh, okay. So they're going to build... Okay, so they're going to do underground car parking. And raise... Or they're going to raise this up above the car park. And service areas and accommodates retail, commercial and community use spaces along the street frontages. Complementing all of this will be flexible commercial space for events and conferencing, alongside residential developments that will drive additional funding to the surrounding site. So there you go, that's the same view again, but just further on. You can see it's completely wrapped around inside this brick structure. We have this glass thing stuff, which looks totally different to how... I don't know if you've seen it before, but there was a cover of the TLR. Last time, I think it was actually the last time we were in the playoffs against Birmingham, the Lions Roars. And when we were on this run about getting promoted, and we were in the playoffs, I think they put a thing about expanding the stadium. And what they did was what was expected, is the way it's been designed with the foundation at the ground at the moment is you can just put another stand on top of the roofs, which would look weird, but that's how it's been designed to do that. So at the moment you have it's got two tiers, west lower, west upper. There'll be like you could just do another one of them on top. It's been designed like that. You take the roof off, you put another stand on, you put the roof back on top of that. But that's not what they're going to be doing. It's not just as simple as that. They're going to be changing it a little bit, which is interesting to see. Although, here's the thing. I mentioned this previously. You've seen what's happened with the hospitality areas and what they've done there. And how much money, they're getting from that now. Would it make more sense to put in more hospitality sections rather than more seats? Because I imagine spend per head is higher in the hospitality sections. Even if you do have if you have space for 1,000 seats, or a space for, I don't know, what would that be? Probably 30 hospitality boxes. It would make more sense to put in the 30 hospitality boxes to make more money. if it takes up the same amount of space. And if you look at this picture here, if you look on the thing in the foreground at the front, seems to be these arches with like what seems to be like businesses in. So I don't know if this is like match day vendors, like selling stuff out, like food items out of there. I don't know, but they seem to be pointing to the street and not onto the stadium. So yeah, again, I don't know about that. So yeah, I notice also it seems to be totally open access. Like there's no fencing or stuff. Yeah, obviously you've now got a brick facade around the stadium, so you probably don't need to have a fence there, but people can just walk straight up to the stadium and touch it, in the middle of the night. Do you want that? Because graffiti and stuff like that, but there you go. The Trust uses the power of sport to improve the lives of people in Lewisham, Southwark and the wider Millwall community. Through this funding stream, the Trust will gain much needed facility improvements and upgrades, including a new sports centre with a sports hall, changing rooms, a gym and a community cafe. So it seems they've already got plans in place of what they're going to do. In addition, the Trust will have access to a new multi-purpose spaces within a proposed West Stand extension. For potential classrooms or fitness studios, externally a zone to the south of the stadium is proposed on non-match days as a multi-use games area. So you can see here barely. I don't know if you can see it. So this is the West Stand. If you go off to the left, there's like a glass thing there. So I presume that's what they're talking about, because that would be where the club shop is now at the moment. So, changes all around. Like I said, it's going to be very, very different, and it's going to take a long time. And but the thing is, because they're going to be doing it gradually, I don't know if that makes it better, rather than just moving to a different place. Because we're going to be going to the games, season after season, as this is being done, and you're going to see it come up, rise up from nothing to what it is. So I don't know if that makes it better. This is so old. Do they have a date on this? No. This is so old though. It's got a quote from Steve Kavanagh. That's how old this is. The development strategy is to retain as much of the existing stadium structure as possible. A flexible phased uplift to both facilities and capacity over time will not only maintain the stadium in use for fans, but minimise demolition and construction waste. The design approach is to create spaces that are adaptable, flexible and multi-use, encouraging activity within and around the stadium 7 days a week to make optimal use of resources and create a sustainable future for the club in the heart of New Bermondsey. So again, it looks like they're gonna get away with, they're gonna change the ground on the inside as well. It's gonna look completely different. It's not just a case of putting the brick things around the outside and taking the roof off and putting a new roof on. It's gonna be, they seem to be changing it a lot. They have this space around the outside. So what they could do is they could build the concourses out beyond this out. So at the moment, the concourses are very thin. They knock the back walls out. They build the concourses out into this, on top of this new structure. So the concourses are probably triple in size, and you can walk all the way around. Maybe all the way around the ground. Obviously, you still need a ticket to get in, but maybe they do that. Where were we? Yeah, here. Okay. The design of the new proposals has been inspired by the history of Millwall FC and its surroundings. The use of brickwork arches reference the railway viaducts and industrial paths that surround the current site, and also those at Millwall Park, which was home to the club on the Isle of Dogs over 100 years ago, where the brick railway viaduct can be seen in the background of historic match photographs. I think there's still some parts of it there in the park, actually. Well, you can see, if you go on that tour, on the Isle of Dogs tour that I was talking about, you'll see that. Internally, as much of the original stadium infrastructure as possible will be kept to ensure the unique atmosphere of the Den is retained. AFL has engaged proactively and positively throughout their involvement on the project, collaborating successfully with stakeholders from both the local community and local authority and private sector over development of the wider New Bermondsey Master Plan area. Their approach has given us confidence that the redevelopment taking place on this site is truly for the benefit of everyone and is investing in the future of the wider Mill community. And that's from Viv Evans. Complex Projects of London Revolution. Is he still there? But yeah, this was a long time ago. A long time ago that this was published. And now, they were using these plans to get the approval of the new lease. The new lease has been improved. So there you go. This is what we're getting. But this is also what we're getting. So, although, will we? I don't know. The economy ain't doing too great. And it's, will there be a demand for this many houses? But they are doing it in phases. Phase 1, phase 2 are the ones at the bottom. Phase 1 is the ones on the right. So we may get these. And the Mule Cafe, if we go down, phase 5, you can see one of the tower blocks is right where the Mill Cafe is, so that's going. That's a shame. And also there, I believe, the fish place, I don't know if you smell the fish, that fish place provides fish for a lot of businesses in London. You've definitely eaten fish from there. If you've been to a pub, if you've been to a pub, they supply pub companies in London. The chain pubs, I know they supply them. So if you've probably eaten fish and chips from their haddock, you've almost certainly had their fish. So where are they going to move to? I don't know. But there you go. That's the plans. That's what's happening. And obviously, planning permission. They have to submit these plans. If these are still the plans, if they've made changes or what they're going to do, what's happening, I don't know, but here we go. Now, we're going to move on to the post-match stats from the game yesterday morning. And here we go. So this is from the Match Centre from whoscored.com. But we don't want to start with that. We actually want to start with this. This is the match report from whoscored.com. And they've given the man of the match to Jack Clark, 8.9. Caleb Taylor, 8.2, but the other top 5 are all Ipswich players. Shots from Ipswich players. Tackles from Millwall players. Billy Mitchell with 5, Cranmer with 3. Langstaff with 3. People are slagging Langstaff off, saying he shouldn't start. He made 3 tackles in that first half. Caleb Taylor with 2. Femi Aziz with 2. And dribbles. Jack Clark with 5 dribbles. Wow. So Mill create a high number of chances relative to their possession. We're effective creating goal scoring opportunities from counter-attacks, but we were poor at finishing. We attacked down the right side. We attacked through the middle. We had a high shot frequency when in possession. We favoured crossing the ball and we favoured long balls. Attempts on goal, 17 to 13. 10 to 8, open play. 6 to 4 set piece. And 1 to 1 counter-attack. They scored 1 goal from 17 shots. That's a 5% conversion rate, which is below average for this division. We scored 1 goal from 13 shots, so that's 7%, and that's about average for this division. So we actually had a better conversion rate. Attack sides. So mostly going down the right hand side, but ironically, where did the goal come from? It came down that left hand side. Shot directions. Shot zones. Action zones. Pretty even. They had a lot of the ball, but they weren't in our third that much. Player positions. Here you go. Have a look at that. Obviously, you got Cram on the right hand side, but you had to do a lot of defending. So, is that why Femias is kind of looked a bit off it? Because he didn't have Crammer bombing forward too much to back him up. But you can clearly see a 4-2-3-1. It's literally 4-2-3-1. I mean, standard. Everyone's playing where they're playing. So yeah, there you go. Now we move on to the match centre. So we read the match events. Josh Coburn getting a yellow card, bizarrely. I think it was just a few things. I'm good to see. So Josh Coburn in the last game, he was being given the business by, what was the guy's name? The Blackburn guy. Forget his name. But he was given the business a bit. And, presumably someone said something. And he was giving it back in this game. He was giving it back. So I think it was just, a few things here and there building up. Say, well, that one and that one and that one. Time for a yellow card. So got booked. They scored first at the start, near the end of the first half, near half time. We didn't get into half time at 0-0, but as Alex Neil said yesterday, maybe that helped us because, if it was 0-0, we probably wouldn't have made any changes. So we were losing, and he said, right, we need to score 2 goals to win the game. I'm going to make a change. And the change was taken off Langstaff for Ivanovic. And not only that, it wasn't that, they changed, they stopped pressing higher up the pitch. So obviously, when you do that, you need Langstaff because, to be fair, Ivanovic, and he's a bit lazy. He don't run around as much as Langstaff. He's not as quick. So, obviously, different types of players. But immediately score a goal. 5 minutes into the second half, score the goal. Bosh. Then we have to weather it a bit. Barry Bannon comes on for Cundall. A good change. I like that change because, like I said yesterday, Cundall. I'm watching Cundall because of what someone said about the Blackburn game, and I'm seeing it. I'm seeing what they said. Yeah, he's kind of flaky. He doesn't jump up for duels. He's kind of aimlessly, just strolling around. It's like, this game's on ITV being shown around the world, right? This is kind of a big deal. This is top of the table clash. You know that, right? You don't want to put some effort in today, or what are we doing here? I know you don't like playing in midfield and you think you're an attacker, but maybe you should just get on with it. But then they make 4 changes. They make 2 changes, but then immediately later, 3 minutes later or 5 minutes later, they make another 2 changes. So, time wasting? Why would you not make all 4 changes at the same time? Maybe they were waiting to see what we did. If we were going to change to their changes. And how they would react to that. But, and then, Watson and Derek Mazusaka comes on for Camille Negley and Billy Mitchell. And we see the game out. And we do have chances to, see the ball in the crossbar. It's not we've seen the game out, but we're still having a go. We could have still won it. We probably had the better chances in that second half. So there you go. If you look at the top right and top left where the club badges are, you can see the average player rating for the teams is 6.61 for Ipswich and 6.55 for Millwall. So, pretty balanced, pretty even. Now, the highest rated Millwall player, Caleb Taylor. Interesting. And other than that, we've got Coburn with 7. Obviously, he scored the goal. Negley with 7, so he got the assist. So, there you go. The lowest rated player, Cundall with 6.2. which is no surprise. Right. Total shots 17 to 13. Coburn with 3, Aziz with 2, Kramer with 2, Bannon with 2, Ivanovic with 1 when they cracked the bar, and even Mazusako had 1. Possession 64 to 35. So, yeah, there you go. This is what we do. Yeah, and we got away with it. Let them play with it. Let them have the ball. And we press them. Close it down. Make them take shots from far away. And hopefully the ball goes over the bar. Pass success percentage 76 to 62. So, yep. Aziz 29. Was he getting doubled up on? I wasn't paying that much attention because I was just too busy watching Kundal, but was he getting special treatment? Because obviously star player. Dribbles 8 to 1. Aerials 1 33 to 24. Callum Taylor with 9 aerials 1. Coburn with 5. Tackles 5 to 17. So obviously we only got 35% possession, so that's us getting on the ball, getting forward, passing it around. We're not dwelling on it, we're not dribbling the ball, so they don't have to tackle us. So they only had 5 tackles in the whole game. We had 17. And Langstaff with 3 and Mitchell with 5. So, you say, what does Langstaff do? Well, he's got the second most tackles for Millwall in the game. Corners 9 to 8. These are the players who won those corners. And dispossessed 8 to 2. Okay. So, moving on to this from whoscored.com, which is, so they had 17 shots. How many were actually on target? 4. So they scored 1 goal from 4 shots on target. I mean, that's good for us. We had 13. How many were on target? 3. We scored 1 goal from 3 shots on target. So it's 13, 3, 1. Okay. The ratings, Caleb Taylor 8.16. Well, he was good. He was good, wasn't he? Coming back. One absolute bargain. One absolute steal. Coming back off a foot injury as well. Hopefully he's okay. Obviously if he's not, he's got time to recover. Maybe that was the plan. If he's good enough to go. Obviously you play this game and then you've got a week off until the next game. Or 2 weeks off basically. Until the next game. So Negley 7.03, Josh Coburn 6.95, Kramer 6.93, and 5th place 6.89, Jake Cooper. At the bottom, all the substitutes are at the bottom, which is how it should be really. And then Luke Condell, 67 minutes on the pitch, 6.21. Okay. Yeah, I mean, as you would expect. Cool. Right. Offense. Let's try refreshing it. Try again. How many offsides? Because just the one. From Ivanovic. Yeah. Defensively, obviously we know about the tackles. Billy Mitchell 5, Kramer 3, Langstaff 3, Caleb Taylor 2, Femi Aziz with 2. Interceptions, Caleb Taylor with 3, Kramer with 2. Clearances, Caleb Taylor with 10, Jake Cooper with 9, Kramer with 7, Zach Sturge with 4. Blocked shots, Caleb Taylor with 5, Cooper with 1, Kramer with 1, Billy Mitchell with 1. So there you go. Now, moving on to this, fotmob.com. Here we go. So just going to run through them all. 64 to 36 possession. The expected goals were 1.48 to 1.66. So we actually had a higher expected goals by just a little bit more. But, that was a 1-1 game, basically. Well, it was one of those ones, it could have been 1-1 or 2-1 to either side. Total shots 17 to 13. Shots on target 4 to 3. Big chances 2 to 3. Big chances missed 2 to 2. Accurate passes 346 to 151. Wow. More than twice as many passes as we did. Wow. 76% to 62%. Fouls committed 5 to 13. Corners at 9 to 8. Shots 17 to 3 shots. 4 to 7 shots off target. 4 to 3 shots on target. Block shots 9 to 3. Hit the woodwork 0 to 1. Shots inside the box 12 to 8. Shots outside the box 5 to 4. If we go to passing, 455 to 243. Accurate passes, we just mentioned that. Own half, here we go. This is it. Look at all the passing, but it was all in their own half. 216 of the passes were in their own half. 85. Opposition half, 130 to 66. Accurate long balls, 40 to 19, which is actually 46% to 32%. Accurate crosses, 7 to 2, which is 29% to 9%. So, wow, that is... We seem to be... our whole thing is about, big man up front, Coburn or Ivanovic, or both of them. And Femi is whipping crosses in, someone else on the other side, whether that's Negley or Watson or Ballo. But only 9% two? Only 2 accurate crosses coming in? Did we switch it up to trick them to play through the middle? I don't know. But, that doesn't seem very good, does it? Throw-ins, 22 to 26. Touches in the opposition box, 44 to 18. Offsides, 1 each. Go back to defence, 5 to 17 tackles, 12 to 7 interceptions, 3 to 8 blocks, 32 to 37 clearances, 2 to 3 keeper saves. So our keeper made 3 saves. The duels, 58 to 45 duels won. Ground duels won 25 to 21, which is 54% to 46%. Aerial duels won 33 to 24%, which is 58% to 42%. Successful dribbles 8 to 1, which is 47% to 47% to 25%. So there you go with that. Let's just have a look at the duels. So we've seen aerial duels won on the other page, but how many lost? So Callum Taylor's 9 of 13. Okay. Coburn's 5 of 16. So only 31% won. So he lost, he lost 11. So he won 5 and lost 11. Cranmer's 2 of 2, so 100%. Anyone, where's the next Millwall player? They're all... where's Ivanovic? He didn't have any. 0 of 4. So he lost all of his duels, all 4 of them. Yikes. Where's Kundal? Did he even try? Where is Kundal? 1 of 6. Yeah, 1 of 6. But, it's one thing not winning the aerial duel. It's another to bottle it. To not even try. To not even just to put them off. You've got to try and, put them off. Lean into them. Do something. 1 of 6, 17%. Yo. Goalkeeping. Where are we at? So saves 3, goals conceded 1. Goals on target faced XG 1.36. Goals prevented 0.36. Okay. So accurate long balls 6 of 21. Accurate passes 6 of 22. So he had 21 passes were long balls and only 1 pass was short. Wow, okay. Now the shot map. All the shots in the game. Here we go. Neil of Ipswich, no relation. After 5 minutes. Negley, 6 minutes. Got saved. That had to be saved. Left footed. Coburn, 17 minutes. Blocked. And okay. Saved from a corner header. Kramer missed. Aziz missed. Azon blocked. Furlong blocked. Clark goal. So that was a 3% one that went up to 8%. That's from outside the area. Again, closing down on that. Not ideal. 50. First shot of the second half. First shot of the second half. Bosh. Have some of that. Goal scored. 0.61 to 0.78. How about that? 52 minutes. Blocked. Missed by Kramer. Blocked. Header from a corner. Missed. Set piece miss. Header from Taylor. Clark blocked. Furlong miss. Neal blocked. Mehmeti blocked. Mehmeti miss. Bannon miss from a corner. Coburn. Set piece. Miss. Bannon blocked. So hang on. What's happened there? A massive gap. You see that? So this is around. Was this around the time the changes were made? The substitutions. They were on. It was 68 and 72 minutes. Was it? Where are we going? This one? No, this one. 68, 72 minutes. So let's have a look at that. So you can see here. So the 66, 66, 71, 76, 89 is a massive space of time where there's no shot after the changes get made. 76 to 89. 13 minutes without a shot. And then, who's having the shots? It's us. The last 4 shots of the game. Well, except for that one. So they have one right at the end. But before that, the 4 shots before that, Mazusako blocked. Ivanovic hit the woodwork. It was a 0.5 XG. Bruh. He's got a nasty habit of doing that, hasn't he? Aziz, attempt saved. Bannon, blocked. Not bad, eh? Not bad. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.